Hey guys, it has been way too long, and I am sorry about that. I don't want to get into all that has caused me to uh, kind of take this short hiatus, but a few things you can tell. This is bugging me though, right here. Come on, come on. We have moved our little humble studio into a different location, and just making sure we're on Instagram. Man, remember I said on those first few streams that it was going to take us a little while to get some of these bugs worked out. And holy cow, this is a bigger nut to crack than what I was originally thinking. And I've had some changes. I was traveling in Mexico for 3 weeks as well, and that made it hard. But blah 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 blah. Right? Let's get to kicking some pigs, right? Today and the last, since we've not been together, which has probably been what? Man, it's almost been a month. I think it's almost been a month. Wow, that is just too long. That is just too long. But we're not gonna try to fill in the gaps of the last month. You know what's happened in this last month. Or here's what's happened. Did you get that? I just literally covered an entire month of live streams with my finger. And that is the best summary, to be honest, of what has happened in the last month. We've gone up, we've gone down, we've gone up, we've gone down, we've gone up, we've gone down. And we have hit what? A high of about 40. We've almost touched 45 a few times. This last run, a few days back, we hit, I think, 44.5. I'd have to look up. This is off the top of my head. It doesn't really matter. And every time we've hit a little bit, we've kind of hit uh, that threshold right there in the mid 44s, and we've dropped back down almost instantly back down to around 40, which I think we're trading around around 41 or so right now. We'll get to that in a second, but and then we've also dropped as low as I think into the 32s or the low 33s, high 32s or low 33s. So that's what this is. We are trading sideways. That's exactly what's happening right now and has been for a month or so now. The question is this, and it's the $1,000,000 question. Could literally be the $1,000,000 question. Are we going up or are we going down? Are we in a bull or are we in a bear? Everybody's asking the same question, right? Are we going to push forward from here with our Bitcoin levels? Are we going to push into the 50s and then regain some traction and even possibly test some all-time highs? Or are these all what I would call bear traps? Are they pushing us up only to trap people into thinking that that is the case, to then pull the rug out from underneath each one of us that have had that in our brains, and then we tumble back down? Now, bear traps aren't the end of the world. Why do I say that? Got something in my eye. Bear traps aren't the end of the world because they will help us go ahead and invest some of the dry powder that we might have on the side. So speaking for myself, I'm beginning not to worry, but I am beginning to wonder if, well, a few things. I'm beginning to wonder a number of things as the days go by. One of them is I'm beginning to wonder more and more if our traditional cycles that we have all been used to, if you've been in this market for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. We've had 18-month to 2-year cycles, and then we will have a good long nice run, and bear or bull run, and then we'll go into hibernation, and that hibernation in the bear will last up to 18 to 24 months, sometimes even to 30 months or so. That's happened almost every cycle since the release of Bitcoin. People began to have the conversation with all the institutional money going in and flooding into the market this throughout the last 20 months or so in this last bull run. Is that going to stay? Is it going to stay to where the traditional cycles continue? And if you would have asked me that about 4 or 5 months ago, I would have said, I hate to think that the answer is yes. I just felt like we weren't going to make any major move when it comes to cycles. And we were going to, at least for the next cycle or so, repeat what we have already seen in the past. I'm beginning to change some of my perspective on that. As I think through what those cycles were like and the mental energy behind them, and in particular, I got really whacked, like a lot of you, or some of you, if you've been in this for 4 or 5 years, you were probably like me, especially if it was your first go around. You got whacked and you lost 90 to 95% of your portfolio when Bitcoin hit 20,000 or so, and we were all in a la la land. And I didn't know what I didn't know. You didn't know what you didn't know. And I rode the market down. I fell for every bear trap there was. I would watch the market begin to either fall or what I thought was plummet. And I would put another $5,000 in, or $2,000, or $1,000, or whatever I could put back in. And then I'd see it raise a little bit. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna really capitalize on this. I've really bought these at the right numbers. And sure enough, the bear trap would happen, and I'd buy even more, and I would run it up, just like we've been doing. We've been doing the same thing, and I would run it up, and I would buy, and then the bottom would fall out again. And we did that. I'd have to look on a chart, but again, this channel, we're not about all the charts. We'll look at charts, but we're not about trying to decide and predict what's going to happen in the market. That's not what we just like to have a conversation. We like to give tools to those that are new in this, and we're going to really begin to power forward as a channel, and hopefully fill some gaps that in my opinion just still exist on the YouTube front and just in the crypto community. So this is bugging me too. See, do you see this? Let's put this over here. I don't know. Now I forget what I was even saying. See, I'm losing my train. No, let's go back to the bear trap of the last go around, when I got trapped and I got trapped and I got trapped. I kept getting trapped, and you would have thought I would have learned my freaking lesson, but bear trap after bear trap. So this time I'm seeing the same thing. But here's my question. Back to the question. Are we going to go into a long, quiet, peaceful sleep, hibernation state as a bear? Are we going to go and lay in our cave for 18 months as a market, as we have done in the past? I'm beginning to believe no. I'm beginning to believe that a few things, significant things, have happened. Some of these things have been talked about. Other things that have come to me in the last few days, I have not heard anyone talk about. The things that you've heard talked about are, well, all the institutional money flooding into the market over the last 20 months, all billions and billions and billions. The supply of Bitcoin is at all-time lows, and it has been for quite some time now, because so much institutional money has gone into this market. Could that change our cycles? I think it's kind of obvious to say, yeah, of course that has the potential to change the cycle momentum and how long a cycle lasts, a bear versus a bull. And I think that alone will have an impact and is having an impact. But the other thing that I don't hear anyone talking about, and this just hit me just in the last day or so, the last cycles, here's been the problem. The problem of the last few cycles has been this. We haven't yet been proven 100% correct that blockchain technology was no doubt going to be the future. Now, hear me out on this. You might be pushing back at that saying, oh, no, I knew it. I knew it. I agree with you. I felt like I knew it as well. But hear my argument here. Throughout the past cycles up to this one of the main and one of the big differences that no one has been talking about is the psychological effect of where blockchain technology has been. It has been going strong now for a good 6 to 7 years. It took a few 3 or 4 years to get it on its feet and get some momentum. But we've been moving, we've been chugging along, right? And we had a good run that last bull run. And I'm not talking about this last one. I'm talking about 2017, back. I built a mine out in one of the warehouses here in Southern California, and I was pulling in the money until the market decided to reverse and go the other direction. We ended up unplugging all the mines and selling off all the equipment. We're still selling some of that equipment, to be honest. But that time around, there's a lot of things that were similar. But that time around, and the times prior to that, the difference was the market had not yet proved out that blockchain would be the future. You and I, some of us, thought it would be the future, but we were still waiting for institutional money. We were still waiting for what we would consider the big boys to begin to accept it as authentic technology. And we were beginning to wait and see the tide begin to change. Well, psychologically, what does that do? When a market shoots up to $20,000, follow this train of thought. This is, again, 2017 bull. When the market shot up to an all-time high of almost $20,000, the mentality behind that was elation. Everybody was beyond excited that this was happening. But there was still such infancy in most of these companies. Most of the companies that were skyrocketing at that time, including Ethereum. Ethereum was doing, I believe, smart contracts, but we weren't seeing anything significant on the Ethereum platform. We were seeing a lot of transactions, but we didn't have DeFi. We didn't have any farming. We didn't have anywhere near the kind of load that we have testing the Ethereum chain on this go around. We had momentum, but hear what I'm saying. We had the infancy momentum. We had companies that were trying to prove that they could make it. We had blockchains that were trying to say that they had what it took. Look at XRP. XRP, we saw come onto the scene and we believed in it. A lot of us believed, okay, this could be the future. But they hadn't yet proved themselves. And still they find themselves in an SEC, fiasco. But even with that, this time is so different. We almost all agree XRP is not only going to get out from underneath the SEC, they're going to end up becoming one of the premier technologies that the whole entire banking system is built on. But in 2017, we were thinking that could be true, but we hadn't yet seen the proof in the pudding. And so, psychologically speaking, when we dropped and we touched almost 20 and we dropped to 18 and then 17 and then 13 and then 10 and then we tested 9, 8, 7, 4, and then we even tested the 3,000 number on Bitcoin over a span of almost 24 months. Psychologically, people were still trying to decide. Institutions were still trying to decide, the big ones, is this the time? Is this going to be the future? Again, I get it. I believed it. Maybe you believed it. But that doesn't mean everyone believed it. Psychologically, there were still doubts in the market. So we had this extended bear, just like every other bear of the past up to that point. The difference is this time is different. Not only has institutional money come into the market at a rate that we've never seen before by any stretch of the imagination, psychologically speaking, we have found agreement. We have found consensus among some of the most brilliant minds in the economic circles, even that don't have anything to do with crypto. We've got Bank of America, we've got Merrill Lynch, we've got Visa, MasterCard. We've got all of these what we call the big guns that have been around forever. We feel like they have a say in it, even though, do they? But we still want to hear their voice. And this time around, we have heard them say, this, we have to agree. Some of them have had to even bite their tongue and say, I was wrong in the past 2017, 18, I was wrong. I now see that this is the future. That is a major psychological shift that could, in fact, let me turn the corner to my point. It's been a long point made, but I think it's important. That psychological shift could be the main ingredient that shortens our cycles. Okay? Because psychologically, we've already agreed. We have a consensus among the people that this is the future and that this technology will plow forward. And some people think it will be this amount of time, and some people think it will be this amount of time. It's beside the point. We have found consensus that it will be the future. This will revolutionize societies as we know it, the globe as we know it. So mentally and psychologically speaking, are we going to go into the same type of psychological bear and hibernate in a cave, wondering when spring is coming? Because are we going to make it? Is this company legit? Does this company have traction? Does it not? I think we're already there. With so many, the top 100, at least the top 50, they've gotten there. They've gotten the traction. Will they stay in the top 50? I don't know. I think that we'll have flippins all over the place in the top 50 and the top 100 for the next 10, 20 years, potentially. But that's beside the point. We have proven that those belong there. They have traction. Not only that they have traction, they have money to back them up. They have both investor money, they have institutional money, they have money flow, they have TVL, total value locked. We've turned a corner into mining from the traditional kind of mining of 2017, where we were building mines to have hash power to mine Bitcoin. We've turned a corner into POW, proof of work. For some of you, I'm probably losing you, but this is just a conversation, and now we're gonna end the conversation. We're gonna go to another video, but I want to put this out there. We've shifted from what we saw back then to a whole new beast, a good beast, like Beauty and the Beast, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's coming. It's here, and proof of work has taken over the hashing power. At least competed, at least taken a whole lot of the market share away from the hashing power needed for these traditional mines that we're using so much electricity with. We're now farming tokens. We're now staking tokens and earning a return on our investment. The whole banking system has been flipped on its head already, and they know it. They're scratching their head. They're trying to figure out how to catch up with what's happened in the DeFi world, decentralized finance. It is here. Consensus has come. It's here to stay. Now, will we evolve and change and grow? And one company that's at the top will be flipping by a company that we didn't even know a few years ago, kind of like the early days of the internet. I say absolutely. I am not saying that now the top 100 will be the top 100 and we've found consensus that the top 100 are here to stay. No, that is not true. Don't let anyone tell you that. In fact, I believe the exact opposite. I believe, I say all the time, we will have so many AOL moments in the years to come, meaning we will think that this company, that this new blockchain company, let's take Ethereum, for instance. Who right now thinks Ethereum could stop being number 2? Well, it's hard to think that it could be. I mean, the amount of the space between Ethereum and the next blockchain like Solana that is doing proof of work smart contracts is still astronomical. But I can almost guarantee, I don't know when, but there will be a flipping. If it's not Ethereum, it will be one of the other big boys. It could even be BTC. It could even be Bitcoin that is just taken off of its pedestal. AOL. If you lived through the era of the early internet, and you've watched any of our videos from the very beginning of this, I started introducing this channel with that. That's what I lived through. And I see similarities, but I see a whole new opportunity that I missed out on a lot back then. I was younger. I see this as exponentially a better opportunity than those early days of the internet. But AOL was the gem. Everybody wanted to invest in AOL. It was going nowhere. Time Warner ended up buying it for billions of dollars. I don't even remember what the number was. And just a few years later, they almost just shuttered the whole concept of AOL because the technology had surpassed, they hadn't kept up, and the technology surpassed what AOL was able to perform at. And who thinks of AOL now? Do you? Are you one with an email that says AOL.com? If you are, please change it. But more than likely, you don't even know what I mean by AOL because it doesn't exist anymore. It's going to happen here, yes. But AOL, keep the analogy going, AOL was one of the points in time, and I remember it, where we had consensus that the internet was here to stay. It might not be AOL, but the internet was going to revolutionize society. Well, look at what it's done. Has it revolutionized our society? Of course it's revolutionized our society. It took a while for blockchain to get the same answer. Is blockchain going to, and already is it revolutionizing our society? Absolutely, in ways beyond AOL. But there will be opportunities to see these flip-ins happen in the market. AOL will be taken over by something else. Of course, not actually AOL, because it doesn't exist anymore. But the blockchain company that represents AOL, Ethereum, or maybe even Solana or XRP. I mean, we think XRP is going to be. I'm one of them. I'm part of the XRP army. I am. I admit it, whether you like it or not. I am part of it. I love XRP. I do believe that it will be one of, maybe not the only, but one of the technologies that transforms, and it already is globally, not in America yet because of SEC, but it will be the technology, the main technology for at least the foreseeable future that will revolutionize the entire banking system. But will it be the final one? Can XRP also lose its ground and be flipped by someone else who has a far superior technology that has been built over a period of time that has so far outpaced XRP because they were good at what they did, but they got surpassed? Absolutely. It could happen. It could happen. So all this to say, where are we at? I believe we're in a seesaw pattern right now, and where we've been the last 4 weeks. I think we're going to stay there. I mean, I'm not, this is not a channel where I give you institutional or financial advice, and it's not meant to be that. It's just my own opinion. I think we're going to be there for a little while. I think we're going to see the same types of sideways trading that we've seen over the last 4 to 5 weeks. I think that's going to continue. But I do think that possibly we have seen a lot of our give back in the market already. Now, I'm of the thinking, this is not prediction. This is just, I do think that BTC could hit into the 29 level. I do think that we could see this same pattern and see Bitcoin hit 29-ish, maybe even 27-ish. I do think that's possible. But I think it's also possible that we've already seen close to the bottom of where BTC is going. I don't know, and that's just my gut. I'm not going off a chart. I'm not going off of what a lot of these other guys go off of. I'm just going off of, because they don't know. Come on, they don't know. Look at what they don't know. Everybody thought we were going to 150,000. We didn't go there. I mean, those guys, they know what they're talking about, but they only can predict to a point, right? My gut tells me that this time around we may go lower in this sideways trading, and the alts could continue to get hit by another 20, 30, some of them even up to another 40%, and equal similar losses up to 80 to 90% overall. But I don't think that bear, no matter what percentage we end at, in its downside, I don't think that bear is going to last as long as what we've seen. I don't think that the bears are going into the den this time around. I don't think we're going to be cave bound. I think we're going to get hungry. I think we're going to get tired. I think we're going to need to kind of regroup ourselves as the bear clan, or you don't really want to be included as a bear, do you? But the bears are going to need to kind of be a bear for a little while. But I don't think they're going into hibernation. And then I think you're going to see sooner than later, could be 4 weeks from now. It could be, I think more realistically, just my opinion, I could think we could be another 2 to 3, maybe even 4 months down the road. But that would be significantly shorter than what we've seen in the past cycles. That would be significantly shorter. That would put this bear at about 4 to 6 months. And I think that's a relatively fair number, if you ask me. So what I'm looking to do now is I'm looking to take my dry powder, and what I want to make sure of is that if we aren't in the same cycles, I don't want to be caught on my laurels and not have my dry powder, or at least the majority of it, deployed back into the market at some of these nice numbers that we're sitting at right now. I mean, HBAR, we're seeing HBAR, we can buy HBAR at 21 cents. Is that a bad number? Could it go to 13 cents? Yeah, it could go to 13 cents, but am I okay with buying HBAR at 21 cents? Yeah, because I think in the next bull, I think HBAR could hit, $1, $1.20. So I don't want to be caught back on my laurels where I'm just holding all my dry powder for too long, thinking that it's going to be the same as the last cycles. I want to, and I already am, I'm deploying my dry powder little by little. I call it trickle in, trickle out. That is the discipline that I've, just kind of termed it as: trickle in, trickle out. And that for me means a very small percentage, but on a daily basis, if I'm ready to deploy on that day. Meaning, if the day is a super strong day, then I'm probably not going to deploy much powder. I'm going to wait and see what the market does and see if we give back some. But on any of the down days, even if we're down 3%, 5%, let alone 12, 15, 18%, then I'm deploying small percentages of my powder in. And I even have some automation that I'm using that I can share on another video. If you like automation, I'm all about automation. And I love using automation. I love using bots, and we'll hopefully get to some of that very soon for those of you that are chomping at the bit. And I want to make sure that using all of these tools and just watching the market for myself, because I have the blessing to be able to do this on basically a full-time basis. I am an entrepreneur, have another business that kind of runs itself. And I've been really doing most of my research and trading and just moving money through DeFi platforms over the last 18 months or so, really as kind of my main gig. You could say I retired early in my early 40s, but I don't think I'll ever, retire in the traditional sense of the word. I say semi-retired, and have built kind of a structure around our family that allows us to live very minimally, pay cash for most everything, and not have a big nut to be able to have to bite off every month. I found that in years past, that was just the debt was draining me. The debt was you're working every day just to pay off your debt. And so we've restructured our life over the last 15 years and are thankfully in a totally different boat. And I'd love to help you get to that boat, even just no financial advice, but just help coach you in some way. If you feel like you're just swimming in debt, that is not the way to live. Side note, not the way to live. And you can make a lot of money in blockchain, but if you don't deploy it right and pay off your debt first and foremost, in almost every instance, then I would say you're, in many ways, you're doing it wrong. So, I encourage you to get to that point where you have minimal debt, if not no debt, if not zero debt in the near future. And then when you have the ability to do what you love, I love this. I love it. I do it because I love it. I don't do it because I make $1 million, because I don't. But I do it because I love it, and I have the freedom to do it. And freedom, I found many years ago, is worth way more than any amount of money. So anyways, that's enough with a little preachy sermon there on getting yourself out of debt. But, I think we've got some fun days ahead. I think we've got this ahead, but I think in the middle of that, we can still be watching and adding and deploying powder little by little, trickle in, trickle out, trickle in, trickle out. And I mean little percentages so that you stagger your money input and output over a very long, most elongated period of time as possible. I'll give you this one little piece of advice before we end this. Let's say that you have, I shared this with some of the guys that I am on like a chat with, and you kind of do life with. And one of them is our son who's married and just a blast. But I shared this, and I think it's something that I've learned is practical. Take the amount of dry powder. When I say dry powder, the amount of cash that you have sitting on the side that you're ready and able to deploy at any point in time back into this market. Now, again, only invest what you are willing to lose. Not financial advice, but just life advice. Don't go into debt. Don't go mortgage your house and try to do this. It's not smart. It's not smart. But take that number, whatever that number is, okay? If that number for you is, let's just say it's $10,000. For some of you, that might be astronomical. For some of you, it might be $1,000. 1,000, 10,000, or for some of you, it might be 100,000 because you've built up a little nest egg. It doesn't matter what the number is. I want you to take that, and then I want you to divide that number by 52, okay? So I want you to take that number, and I want you to divide it by 52. I'm gonna do this here on my phone as well. So let's use the $10,000 number. So this is the amount of money theoretically that you have as dry powder to deploy back into the market. All right. So let's say put in your number. I'm putting in 10,000 for an example. We have $10,000, and I'm going to divide that by 52. Why am I dividing that by 52? Well, we all know there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So I think at max, simply an opinion, but I think this bear more than likely isn't going to last more than another 52 weeks or another year. So if I divide that by 52, I get the number 192.30. So let's just round it. Let's just say it's $190. So what that does is that gives you some number, some tangible number that you can use to stretch out your deployment of this dry powder, trickling in. When I say little by little, for you, if you have $10,000, the number that I would suggest is around $190. Not financial advice. I have to say that over and over again. Please don't, say that I am giving you, this is not that channel. I am talking with you. I am sharing what I have done, and hopefully it can benefit you in some way. And I'm going to encourage you to be more wise with your money, not foolish with your money. That's for sure. So $10,000, 52 weeks. If you deployed $190 per week, then you would have 52 weeks worth of dry powder to put into the market as the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So you're not missing any of those cycles. Now, you might not get them exactly on the downtrend. We say that if you can hit within 10 to 15% of an all-time high or of a low in a bear market, you're kicking butt, right? You're doing great. So don't worry about, oh, I missed the high, or oh, I missed the absolute low. Well, welcome. You're going to, and don't worry about that. The reason why we stretch it out is so that we don't have to worry about hitting it exactly correct. So if you've got $10,000, let's summarize that again. You divide it by 52. You've got $190 a week to deploy into the market as you see fit. And that, if you do it somewhat at that rate, then that will stretch for around a year, up to 52 weeks. And at the end of that, you should have 80 to 100% of your dry powder deployed back into the market. And then you are positioned as good as you could be positioned. As good as you could be positioned. In my opinion, there's no other way to be positioned better. This is what I'm doing. So that when that bull hits, and let's use HBAR again, it's at 21 cents. Well, 21 cents, I like that number. Could it go again to 13 cents? Could it go to 8 cents? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to I'm going to keep deploying all the way down to 8 cents. I've got enough dry powder I'm still buying at 8 cents, but I'm also buying at 21 cents, right? But we want to cost average down, yes, as best as we can. But when that bull run hits, when that bull hits, HBAR, it's kind of it's not a no-brainer because that would be factual. But for me, I'm not worried about HBAR going over $1 again. I'm just not worried about it. I think it could maybe go into the $2 realm this next time around. So 13 cents, 8 cents, or 21 cents. If we go to $1.80, I don't really care where I bought it at. See what I'm saying? That you don't have to be so mentally exhausted by it. Did I buy it right? Did I buy it wrong? Did I put all my money in at the wrong time? Oh no, because I did that last time. Those are the bear traps. Methodically, with discipline, trickle in to this market as we go up and down and up and down. And then the reverse will be true when we'll have this conversation when the next bull hits and we're powering into a bull. I'll be saying the same thing on the trickle out method. You're also wanting to trickle out when we're hitting all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs. Well, don't wait for the absolute all-time high every time. You also have to be trickling out during those times and putting money back into USDT or USDC, turning it back into dry powder so that you can repeat the cycle again. See that? That's how we're going to make money in this market. And that's how we're going to become the generation that is blockchain generation. Just like there was, I said way back in my first video, the internet generation. We are the blockchain generation. You, if you're younger than me, especially, you are the blockchain generation. I happen to be both. But you, if you're younger, if you're a 20-something especially, you're the blockchain generation. And you have the opportunity of a lifetime, if you do it right, to build slowly. Don't worry about being a millionaire. Don't worry about making $1 million. I've never had that as a goal in my life. But just be methodical. And if you do that and you do it with discipline, you will be pleased with where your money amounts are at. Whatever those levels are, they're going to be different for each one of us 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because we are there. We have found consensus that blockchain is the future. All industries are already beginning to build on the blockchain. And within the next few years, all industries will be built and rebuilt on the blockchain. That's exciting stuff, guys. I love kicking pigs with you. I just love it. Oh, you know what? I should have brought him. I got a little stuffed pig. And I like him. And we're going to use him. We're going to make some videos with him and we're going to kick him. Not to be mean, but we kicking the pig means let's get going. Let's do this thing. Let's be the blockchain generation. Let's make some money, right? Now, is life all about making money? Because if you know me, you know life is not about making money. This is funny. Money is icing on the cake. But life is sure about a lot more than that. Life is about people. Life is about family. Life is about who you are and who you were made to be, who God made you to be, in my opinion, and living out that journey that God has you on. That's real life. But this stuff, it's just fun icing on the cake along the way. And yeah, I do enjoy it. I've always loved technology. So anyways, I'm babbling now. As I always say, I love you. Please know, I really do. I may have never met you yet, but I love you. I'm for you. I'm with you. And until next time, keep kicking some pigs.